While optimism serves you best in most areas of life, relationships is not one of them. Hey guys, welcome back to 5nothing100nothing.com. I am Bucket! And that stands for the fittest underdog guru using intelligent tactics. Guys, I am a hopeless optimist. And if this is the first time you're seeing any of my content, you'll see that if you look back at any of the old stuff, which I recommend you do, of course, but I'm very optimistic. You know, I believe that in most things in life, if you approach it with starting with an attitude of gratitude and then optimism that good things will happen, your actions start to become that in a way that takes you towards your goals. And, you know, life's about risk sometimes, and you take calculated risks. So I look at all those things, but in one area, I do think that it serves you best to be more pessimistic. Now, I'm not talking about a long-term relationship or if you've been married for years. In the way of getting into new relationships, okay? So often I see, and I've done this myself in the past, I enter into a relationship based on what seems to be that honeymoon phase, right? Where everything seems like it's going really good. There's mutual attraction. You have somebody there. You have companionship. What happens is you get blinded by that love or by the infatuation, right? Over that crush you have. Everything's fresh and new. Everyone's got their best foot forward. Everyone is trying to be on their best behavior. And then over time, now that you've got like an emotional connection to this person, or they're familiar, and well, at least it's somebody here, you start to overlook a lot of things that are going to be like deal breakers potentially. But you approach it from a position of, well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. One of you wants kids, one of you doesn't. You know, I know I don't want kids and she wants kids, but, you know, over time she'll probably agree with me. Or maybe it's on her side and she goes, well, I want kids, I know he doesn't, but you know what, when we fall in love, he'll change his mind. Now, that could happen, but the thing is that a lot of times people either really don't know themselves, so they're not sure if they can be swayed one way or the other. They don't know what they want, you know, in their life or their future. And you can't plan your whole future. Things happen, you know. As soon as you have a plan, life happens. You ever hear that? Well, it's true. And the thing is, when it comes to relationships, a lot of times I think people make bad decisions in that they will say, okay, you know, we don't meet on these major points, things that could be deal breakers, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Then you're far down the road and you're looking at things more from that perspective that you had going into the relationship. And if you've got two people that then over time, once you get comfortable with somebody, you start to really show your true colors. Not that you're lying before, but you know, you just have this honeymoon phase, and all of a sudden when things start to get real, that honeymoon phase wears off. It's like, okay, well now I really know what I want, and this person doesn't want it, and it starts a little tug of war. It can be a big problem because now you're invested. You've got that sunk cost fallacy thing where, well, you know, hey, I'm in this, they're in it, and you know, now you're in a place of like misery, and you're wasting your time and that person's time because there's just certain points where compromise isn't going to be reached. It's going to be one person giving in to the other. You know, there's no way to really compromise with I want kids or I don't want kids, you know. I don't know how you compromise on that. Maybe you've got nieces or nephews and you adopt one, I don't know. Or you just spend more time with them. But, you know, there's some things that are big deal breakers if you haven't worked it out amongst yourselves. Let's say you have different religions. If you can respect the other person's beliefs and, you know, you guys are in a middle zone when it comes to raising the kids and no one's going to try to really take the lead with, you know, religious views, that could work for you. You know, if there's a mutual respect, you want to raise your kids to have a knowledge of faith or, you know, being an atheist or being whatever it is, that's fine. But a lot of times, if it's like, especially if there's a strong cultural background and you've been misled and thinking, oh, they're more Americanized, etc., but then you realize they hold on to a lot of old world views or culturally, a lot of cultural traditions, then it's going to cause a lot of problems. Just because for a little while it worked out and we get along so well and this and that, stuff starts to get real after a little while. And so that's why I say, when you're meeting someone, you have to be more pessimistic. You have to say, well, what could go wrong? Do we meet on the major things, and what are our deal breakers? And realize those things before you get in too deep with somebody, because maybe there's attraction, there's this and that, but if those big things, which come out over time in the conversation depending on how well you two communicate, those are things that you need to be figuring out before you're in so deep that now you've just got all these problems. And the thing is, you need to look at shows like 90 Day Fiance, where people fall in love with somebody from another country and they finally meet and they start to spend time with each other and they realize, wow, we have huge differences, huge deal breakers, or huge things that are just always causing fights. And you don't want to be in a relationship like that. You want somebody that you're going to get along with, somebody that you can call your friend, somebody that you're passionate about. You share, similar views and where you want your future to go. Because I even watched it in my parents' marriage, where my dad was originally from West Virginia and was like a country boy with his guns and his picking a banjo and all that. And my mom, being an Italian immigrant, would love the idea of living in the city. She loved to be around people. My dad was more of an introvert and a loner. So that caused a lot of issues for them, growing up. I just observed it over the years. And, if they both could have went back and realized, who the other person was, assuming they represented themselves, when they were young in the same way, then, they might have avoided a lot of problems and found someone that they were more compatible with. So be a pessimist when it comes to meeting new people and be selective. Now, if you're just having a casual relationship and you're not looking to really settle down, you can do that, but it can be a slippery slope, because over time, you start to, have feelings for this person. Maybe you fall in love with them, and then either one of you or the other is making, compromises that really aren't going to make you happy. And you would have been better off being alone for a little while and really figuring out, doing self-improvement and, being your best you, so that when you meet that person who's more on the same page as you, it's going to work out and be a better relationship, instead of having 1, 2, 3 divorces under your belt. So just some thoughts on that, you guys. I am an optimist, but there is a time and a season to be a little pessimistic, meaning more be cautious. Like, share, subscribe.